terrifying part. A lot of people do not know why they feel that way. And others, it's more of a minority. They might know why, but they don't know how to practically overcome loneliness. And that is what I'm gonna show today. Why and how to overcome loneliness. And you will want to watch this video till the end, because if you don't, you will miss out on things. So let's go with me and let's see how your situation can change for the better. The thing about being lonely, like I said, is different from being alone. But if we dive deeper in that sense, you will have a clearer image. You are full of people in the room. Maybe you guys are playing games, or maybe you guys are just having a conversation. And you are there, you are invisible. No one is noticing you. Like, you feel like you are just there, but if you weren't there, it would not make any difference. You feel like the people there don't care much about you. So you see that the problem is not just loneliness. It's more than that. Loneliness is the core thing, but there are other things that contain in that core. For example, just a tiny example, sometimes the fact that you don't feel loved or respected by the people around you makes you feel alone. That's one example of it. We will go even deeper in everything. So a good example of someone who would have overcome loneliness is you can be at your home, sitting on a couch or on your bed or wherever you are, alone, but still feel completely at peace. That's okay. For example, me, I'm alone here. There is no one. I can see no one in this room. So I am alone, but do I feel lonely? This is a thing. I have felt lonely because I'm someone, or I have been someone in my life who, also because of distractions, because sometimes I would be on my phone, or sometimes I just would not speak because I would be shy, or I wouldn't speak because I was tired, or whatever thing it is. Like, there can be any reason, but I would just be an introverted person and a more quiet person, sometimes more serious person, not speak much. And sometimes I would feel like I am invisible, and if I wasn't there, no one would care. But the thing here is some of it is my fault, because I didn't actually want to say something or be involved in it. Also comes down to you valuing yourself, like you knowing that you are an interesting person, that you have things to add value, that, okay, it's cool to listen, but sometimes you can say something as well. But that is just the top of the iceberg, because I still have my family with me and I still felt a little lonely. Why? Because I didn't have someone I could fully trust, or I did have, but in my mind I did not have. I did not let myself out so that I would have people around me who I could trust, like real high value friends. Your problem might be that you don't have a friend. Sometimes one friend is enough. That might be your problem. But normally it's more than that. Because my problem was not only not having a friend I could say, you are my best friend, you are my best friend. Normally my friends were best friends with other people. Like, the person would be my friend, or just a person I know, or sometimes the person would be a person I like a friend of mine. But the person would not be an intimate friend of mine. It would be a friend, but not a close friend. And there is a difference, because sometimes loneliness comes from the fact that you do not have any close friends around you. I covered some of that in my previous videos, and this is one more of them. Friendship is extremely important, yes, but sometimes it's hard to find someone you can fully trust, especially when you have things that happen in the past. What are you gonna do? Like, things happen in the past, how are you gonna Let yourself open up now to other people. I know it's hard because I've been in the same situation. So loneliness sometimes comes down to not only a friendship but connection problem. Sometimes if you have a girlfriend, if you are a man, for example, if you have a girlfriend or a wife already, that might help. That might help because you will let yourself be open and more vulnerable. So yes, it also comes down to vulnerability. It comes down to that. And that is something especially men should think about, because you close yourself. It's your fault kind of sometimes. You close yourself to the people around you, and that makes you feel lonely. But that's not the total solution of the problem. It's not just, hey, I'm gonna be vulnerable, because that's also bad. You shouldn't be vulnerable with people that are not worth being vulnerable with. So being vulnerable should be with people you trust, people who care and love you. And those are difficult to find. So I do get why you can be lonely. Even if you try, you can still feel lonely. One thing here we have to point out before we proceed is an extra tip. You gotta get off your phone. You gotta get off your distractions, because that will make you more lonely. It will make you lonely. If you spend so much time on Instagram, TikTok, wherever social media it is, you will be comparing yourself to other people, and that would be bad for mental health. If you eat junk food, if you eat just things you shouldn't be eating, if you are not confident in yourself, if you see that your body doesn't look like a healthy body, like a body that you are proud of, it doesn't have to be like you don't have to be like a bodybuilder or something. I'm still building muscle, and I still have so much progress to make, but I'm still working for it, and I'm working for it almost every day. But it doesn't mean that my body is bad. I'm proud of what I have, and I will keep growing and working to get to my goal. But you should be proud of yourself, and you should be in a healthy lifestyle, especially for mental health, because mental health is what matters here. We're talking about mental health, and other things you do matter a lot in that sense too. Like, the thing here is, you can eat junk food. That's okay. Like, especially for loneliness, it doesn't matter much. But junk food, if you eat junk food, then eat junk food with someone you trust, someone you love, or one of your friends, like real friends. Why? Because then junk food is worth it. If you eat junk food alone, then it's not gonna help. The only way junk food could like actually help you is if you eat it with someone. For example, if you have like someone drinking beer or wine or whatever with people on a bar, like old real friends, then that's a good thing. Why? You can say, hey, the body health is kind of decreasing, but the health in friendship and the mental health in general, it's increasing, because you have friends, you have connection, you feel love, and that is good for your body. That's when you should maybe eat junk food, like, oh, let's go eat ice cream together. But still, you should be very attention, because your body health is also very important. But that's a disclaimer. That's the only situation I would consider doing that. Another thing you could do to overcome loneliness, like I said before briefly, is go off your phone. Put the distractions off, because distractions are distractions. They will make you feel more lonely. Why? Because if you have people around you and you don't interact with them, then you're gonna feel lonely. I can't help you if you don't interact with the people around you. Go off your phone, be present. Like, I get it, like 5 minutes on your phone, that's fine. But if you interact with others, especially if it is someone you care about, don't be on your phone while you're talking to the person or doing something. Be with the person. And that is why, for example, me and my girlfriend, when I spend time with her, especially physically, then I am off my phone. I just check my phone if it's like an important message, or like if it's the maps, I have to go somewhere and I want to know where the bus is, or like the location, or to get food or whatever it is, then it's fine. But if it's like, oh, I'm scrolling here while I'm talking to you, then sorry, I can't help you. Like, that's the basic step. That's the minimum you should do. And that may be the most important for you right now. Maybe for you, getting off your phone, like off video games, like you might be playing video games while you're talking to the person, or don't do that. Focus on, that is discipline. It seems very basic, but I know it is the most difficult part here. One of the most difficult parts. Getting off your phone, getting off those distractions, they can harm you. And they are distractions, yes, from maybe you will procrastinate, yes, productivity, and etc. But they also affect your social life. Now, if you really want to be on your phone, I would consider having people with you. Like, oh, I want to play video games. Play video games with someone. Oh, I want to scroll and see reels. Fine, that is fine sometimes. Not that long of a time, but like, it is fine if you do it with someone. Like, if you have someone at the same phone or same screen, both are looking at the same reels, and then they are talking about, discussing what they just heard and saw and watched. That is the best thing you can do with reels. Talk about it, discuss about it, and etc. Then that's fine. You are having high quality time, but still don't exaggerate on that. But that's something you could do, that's okay. So I was seeing here that most of your bad habits that you keep doing, if you do them by yourself, it's gonna harm you a lot. But if you do them by other people, it might help you. So I would say that the number one step, if you do wanna get less on your phone, I would start getting as first, of course, reducing my time on the phone and deliberately saying to me, hey, get off your phone. But second, I would include someone. I would have a fun time with someone and get closer to someone. And maybe I could use the phone as an example. But that's just a tool. It should not be the main thing. Like, you should use it like 20% of the time, 10% of the time. The rest, you should use everything you have off your phone. Like, you shouldn't be using your phone for that kind of stuff that much. Loneliness is when you feel unseen and unheard and not truly known by anyone. So I have here a situation, and just imagine on your mind. There is a Cambridge researcher. Do you know the Cambridge University? So there is a researcher there who studied anxiety and depression, and he discovered something fascinating about lonely people and also non-lonely people. What are the differences? We have the same situation, but different responses and reactions. When something goes wrong socially, maybe someone didn't respond, or a friendship fell flat. I don't know what it might be. Lonely people would ask, especially if a relationship is broken or something is wrong. They might ask, what is wrong with me? So they blame themselves, right? And then they try to find what is wrong with me, or, hey, that person is wrong. Sometimes they blame the others. That's fine, like saying what is wrong with me. And you should say that because, hey, maybe I have something that did not please the person or whatever. But sometimes it's not only you, it's your behaviors and the way you act, the way you talk. So it's not something necessarily about your personality. Sometimes it's something about your behaviors. And you should definitely see what you did wrong and what you could improve in that relationship or that social event, let's say like that. But non-lonely people, they don't necessarily do that. What they do is, what approach can I try differently? It's a different approach on the same situation. What approach can I try differently? This is just to make you think, hey, Sometimes it's the approach. It's not only me, it's the approach. Now, here is what makes loneliness genuinely dangerous. It's not about the feelings necessarily you have. It's also about your body. We can describe it as chronic loneliness. Loneliness that is constantly there. Even if you are with people, you're still feeling lonely. It is as deadly as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Are you getting what I mean here? Which is worse? Smoking a pack of cigarettes a day or feeling lonely? I would say that feeling lonely is worse. Why? Because if you smoke a pack of cigarettes, it is also indicating here that you are not lonely. That means you are happy with friends and family and etc. And at the other side, you may not be smoking or whatever, but you're gonna get the same effect without the people. So between the two options, I would say, okay, smoking a pack of cigarettes might be better, but don't do that. Sometimes being alone, being lonely is better because at least you don't have that crazy thing. It's easier to not be lonely than to stop smoking. You guys just know it. Like smoking, it makes your body be completely dependent of the thing. But loneliness is different because loneliness, you can actually heal that and it's not that hard. But it's not that complicated. It's just hard sometimes and needs some help. But it's not something that is as difficult to get out from as smoking. So don't smoke. Don't do that. Please. Being lonely is hard enough. Now, if you smoke, you're gonna just make it worse. Like, do you want to make your life worse? Not only be lonely, but also smoke and like take drugs. No, don't do that. You see, that's not what you should do. Because loneliness, it accelerates Alzheimer and also weakens your immune system. Your literal immune system is weaker when you're lonely. Like you can be eating healthy food, you can be drinking well, you can be exercising, but if you feel lonely, that may be worse for you than for someone who is not lonely but is doing everything less good or sometimes even wrong in some areas. Is eating junk food, etc. It is bad for the person, but at least the person is not alone. So if you want to improve every area of your life, do not be lonely. That is a freaking good way to improve your mental health, your happiness. Don't be lonely. Don't feel lonely. And how are you gonna do that? Stick to this video. I already gave you some tips. I'm gonna give you more tips. The thing here is that being rejected by a tribe or like a social group back then, like thousands and thousands of years ago, it was a threat. Like imagine, like, you know the story of the Garden of Eve, right? That of Eden, where Eve ate the fruit and then she sinned against God and etc. She and Adam were the first humans, so all of those rules, they apply to them. When they started getting sons and daughters, there was still like a couple hundreds or just tens and tens of people. So if someone was rejected, that person would die. Like, there is no one else to run. There would be wild animals, lions, and freaking dinosaurs even. So there's not much you would be able to do, right? And our brain is still the same. God said it sees social rejection as extremely bad. Extremely bad. Because we were created to have relationship. Human beings were created to be in relationship with one another. Even if you believe in evolution, like evolution, if it was really a true thing, it would be saying that. So your brain is not broken. It is doing exactly what it was designed to do from the very beginning. The problem is that the world changed, but the software didn't. Now, why everything you tried has not worked yet? So you already know you are lonely. You've probably tried things. Maybe you downloaded apps, maybe you moved to a new city, maybe you joined a gym, a church, a club, a hobby group, whatever it was. Maybe you've even gone to therapy. Some people will go to therapy and it doesn't change. Sometimes those things helped a little for a while, but then you're back at level 0, still alone. Here is why. When chronic loneliness enters in, scientists call that self-preservation mode. Your brain enters into that mode and it starts scanning the world for threats. And this is cruel to say, but your brain, it becomes more sensitive to social signals while simultaneously getting worse and worse at reading them correctly. You know what that means? You pay more attention to people, but you understand them less. You may not assume that consciously. That's something more in the subconscious mind. But your brain may be reading faces wrong. And it's kind of confusing. Neutral facial expression. It may be confusing neutral facial expressions with hostile expressions. You assume people don't want you around before they even said a word. You already think a million things in your mind, but it may not be true. You pre-reject yourself to avoid being rejected. And that is one of the trap. And that is a vicious cycle. You feel isolated. The tension and sadness creep in. Then you start being selective and you focus on the negative. Have more negative thinking, then you avoid people, then more isolation, then more tension, more sadness, more focus on the negative, more negative thinking, more of avoiding people, and more isolation. So it also has that word, isolation. You isolate yourself, even if it's mentally. You mentally isolate yourself. And then that makes it hard to escape from that cycle. You stop answering to the phone, you decline invitations. Hey, I don't want to go. Like sometimes you just generally don't feel like going to that place. Before you were like, hey, yeah, let's hang out, let's do that. And then now you're like, I don't want to do that. I just want to stay at home. Sometimes it's fine because I myself, I like to stay at home a lot of times. But I think that might also come from the fact of feeling lonely sometimes. Like sometimes people, they want me to go out. And it's not only the situation. I don't value sometimes the friendships I would have that much. And sometimes I prioritize other things so that I do not see that person as that high priority to make me want to actually do the thing with that person. But a lot of times when I go out, it's like, hey, people are going out and they call me. They invite me. A lot of times I accept, but other times I don't. And that's completely fine. You shouldn't be going every time to like, even if it's your friend, you shouldn't be going every time just because it's your friend. You should know when to reject and when to accept.